Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, a World Alternative Media here, and of course I'm joined by author and economic analyst here at WAM, John Sneisen. And you know we love gold, we love silver, we love sound money, precious metals, preservation of value for millennias. But obviously the people, the forces that be, don't like people like us having wealth insurance. And of course, as the fiat empire continues to crumble and fall, they can't raise interest rates up enough to drop them down enough to save the economy like they so badly want to do, just to manipulate it and push it off a bit longer so we're further enslaved in debt and poverty. As this happens, there is a huge grab for gold, the gold industry, in order to manipulate the gold industry, as we've talked about before, of course. Deutsche Bank last year, for example, was caught red-handed in a court of law more than once, manipulating the price of gold and silver. We saw that with LIBOR. We saw that with, HSBC, Scotiabank, all those. And right now, as it stands, Q2 and H1 gold demand down on slower ETF inflows. And we've talked about ETFs a lot in the past. John, want to go into this?
Well, first of all, gold and silver should be like way higher right now because of course, they say that gold demand is down because of ETF inflows are slower. Well, the thing is, those ETFs, they're worthless pieces of crap, most of them. Actually, 300 to 400 contracts out of one, and maybe one of them would be actually worth something, which would be backed by physical metal. Yeah. So it's just a massive Ponzi scheme, the ETFs. And of course, the ETFs are down drastically, by the way, over the last year. They're actually dropped massively, and that is what they say is the drop in gold demand. No, it's not really a drop in gold demand, because the actual gold demand, the physical gold demand, is up 11% since last year, because
and it was at 9% I think 2 months ago when we were reporting.
Yeah, that was the quarterly one.
Yeah.
So what you're seeing now is actually 11% year over year, because of China, Turkey, and India is of course getting into gold again, because in India they're banning cash, so so they got to use some gold to protect themselves. And of course, it's a massive growth again in Indian gold demand through jewelry, 26%, which is quite substantial.
But now, of course, what we've seen is all manipulated and nonsense. I mean, it's
those paper contracts.
Especially since about 2012, when we saw this peak in the gold and silver markets. Since 2012, we've seen vast manipulation that's pushed bull market into an artificial bear market, which we've been talking about for a couple of years now.
Well, yeah, and that's why they want to have ETF contracts on Bitcoin, because they want to be able to manipulate the price of it by a fake price. The ETF price is the fake price of Bitcoin.
And especially with ETFs and gold, I mean, gold is wealth insurance, so you're not going to make tons of money in a small amount of time because it's not that volatile, really. And when we look at things like these ETFs, it's just an excuse for them to be able to cash in on investments, kind of bring it up, sell high, buy low, and kind of fluctuate the value like that.
Well, and of course, we're going to turn our and look over at silver, because silver is in a pickle right now. Silver is, of course, an industrial metal, massively used in solar-powered glasses. It's used in all electronics today. So it's a massive industrial metal. But what we've seen is, of course, with the prices that are getting manipulated so hard, like the silver price right now is $16.39, which is, a massive record low from what it was in 2009, which was almost $48 an ounce. And of course, back in the 80s, it went all the way up to almost $90. So the price is so undervalued because they have all these paper contracts, unfortunately, on silver as well, manipulating it. But what is happening is, because of all this massive manipulation of the price down, well, the cost of these silver miners, because there's not very many primary silver miners out there, well, they're not able to mine. They're not able to make a profit. So what has happened over the last quarter now, the Q2 that we have data from, and this is from SRS Rockwell report, which is fantastic if you want to look into gold and silver and what's happening in those markets. He's showing a massive drop. You have, for example, Hecla, which is the biggest one that drops in production. It's minus 34%. Endeavor Silver has minus 26% drop in production. Silver Standard 24, and -20 for First Majestic. So what you're seeing, and you're also seeing other metals, other commodities now are not mined as much because what is happening is you don't have the demand on top of that, on top of all this manipulation. And of course, silver is a byproduct of a lot of zinc mining and other mining. So what is happening is there's a massive drop in the production of it. Meanwhile, you have the price still like staying at put. It's not doing nothing. It's just showing us how massively they've been able to manipulate the gold and silver price, because they are very afraid of gold and silver actually coming to the forefront and showing what they do every time when a fiat currency fail. And it's actually a backup of your wealth that you have created for yourself throughout your lifetime.
There's so much scarcity in gold, especially because there's not that much gold in the world, and that brings up the value as well. And, you know, it's great wealth insurance, and that's what the establishment is afraid of, because they want people to be subservient in debt and begging the government for help and being completely dependent. And, of course, these chains, once the banking system, or once the fiat empire falls, the banking system will probably fall in its footsteps quite soon after, and those chains that are holding gold and silver down will break. So there's that upside.
Yeah, well, the thing is, when a currency fails, it's just within a year time frame. Every single hyperinflationary currency that I've collected, it's within a year when it happens, when people suddenly lose all trust in the currency, and it just loses all its value. So that's when it happens. So people are, oh, the gold and silver prices are not going up, Don't think about gold and silver too much as an investment. If you want to invest in gold and silver, invest in silver mine and gold mines stocks. That's an investment.
Yeah, that's more flexible.
Gold and silver is something you store in your safe or somewhere else safe, and you just wait for the big crash to happen, because it's inevitable. It will happen, and it's within that 1 year frame. So you're not going to see like a gradual big uptick. You're going to see that massive instant thing, and then suddenly nobody wants to take any of your fiat when they have gold and silver.
Absolutely.
So that's where you're heading.
Absolutely. And this is just another example of their manipulation. They just want to hold everything that actually helps people, individuals, stay independent. They want to bring it all down. And I think this is another example of why we need to continue looking towards things like gold and silver, because that which is the enemy of the establishment is usually right. And in the case of the coming collapse, which is inevitable, the fundamentals are off the table due to the level of manipulation in the fiat system. So you can't put your finger on when it's going to happen, but you know it's going to happen. This is a great insurance away from that crash. And it has been historically, and we've seen this time and time and time and time again. And I think it's about time that more people get into it. But of course, this actually helps scare people away from putting money into gold, because they see it and they go, well, I don't know a whole lot about this, I don't have a whole lot of time to study into it too deeply, but I see that it isn't doing much, so that kind of worries me. Well, no, this is just them trying to not only make money on the side off it, but scare people away from putting money into a system that will inevitably actually save them in the long run from what happens. And yes, we will get the comment, you can't eat gold. Of course you can't eat gold, but it all comes down to self-sustainability. So food, water, shelter, defense, so you're not just gathering things for the toughest guy on the block, and of course sound money, so you're not out there shooting every day trying to kill animals so you can eat, and out there harvesting crops all the time, which is just not realistic. And especially with the current day society in 2017, people living in big cities, come on, most of them won't know how to hunt, most of them won't know how to harvest crops. So for that reason, it's a great wealth insurance, so you're not stealing food from other people and out, desperate and looking for any way to actually obtain something to feed your family. Gold and silver is a great wealth insurance for that reason as well. So no, you can't eat gold, but you will need something to eat, and gold and silver is a great way for you to be able to afford to buy these things, so you're not completely independent to the extent where you're in the middle of nowhere trying to hunt for wild boars. I mean, come on, guys, this isn't a video game, this is real life, and most people don't know how to do that. And if you do, good for you. I mean, good. That's a good thing. But let's face it, not very many people know how to do that. So what's your bottom line, John?
Well, the bottom line is gold and silver is your wealth insurance, and you always need to keep it as a part of your your portfolio, whatever you have, you definitely need gold and silver. It's so important to have. Throughout history, it's always been a war between paper and gold and silver. Ever since paper was invented in 1024 by the Chinese, it's always gone forth and back. Gold always wins, and that's the bottom of the line.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for going into this with us, John. And check the links below, GoFundMe, Patreon. We can't do it without you. Any donation is very much appreciated, especially as we are so vastly demonetized and censored by YouTube. Also check our Bitcoin address in the description and the comments, as well as on the screen for you to scan, if you please. And also check me out at Josh Sigurdson, and check out John at The Economic Truth at steemit.com. That's steemit.com, the future of social media, where you get paid in cryptocurrency to blog and post via the demand of your upvote and your post and people getting involved and enjoying what you have to say and do. And it's a future of social media, as a dinosaur social media buries itself in its own grave as it censors people and shoos people away. And also don't forget to check out John's new book, Canada, the Greatest Economy in the World, ? At Amazon.com. He has put a lot of years into writing this book, and it's a great book, so I hope you check that out. But until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson and John Sneisen signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.